In this video, we are going to look at the kinematics of circular motion. Okay, very similar to the way we define things in one-dimensional motion. We will define a bunch of quantities for circular motion. You'll see once you look at one quantity, the rest of the stuff will be very simple. Okay, so this was what we did for one-dimensional motion. And this is what we're going to do for rotational motion. So, if you remember, first thing we said that, hey, as we have objects that move and do all kinds of stuff, everything has a position. So our position was x. So this was position. On the other hand, for rotational motion, we're going to have something called an angular position. Okay, we're going to define it by the angle theta, because we know that for rotational motion the radius remains fixed. So as an object moves along a circle, the only thing that really changes is the angular position. Okay, now then we define displacement. It was delta x equals xf minus xi. Here we will have an angular displacement. Okay, this will be delta theta equals theta f minus theta I. Now similarly, we have an average velocity here, which was V average equals delta x over delta t, and here we'll define average angular velocity. Okay, now this will be denoted by the Greek letter omega. Okay, omega average equals delta theta over delta t. Now once we have this, we can also define average acceleration, which is AAVG, and this is equal to delta V over delta t. And here we will define a corresponding average angular acceleration denoted by the symbol alpha, and this will be equal to delta omega by delta t. Now we can, in a similar manner, define instantaneous, just like we defined instantaneous velocity and acceleration. We can do the same thing. So V, in the instantaneous velocity, was limit as delta t approach 0, delta x over delta t. So we will have an instantaneous angular velocity defined as limit delta t approach 0, delta theta over delta t. And an instantaneous acceleration was defined as the limit as time approaches, the interval approaches 0, delta v by delta t. And similarly, we'll have instantaneous angular acceleration defined like so. Now if you recall that in 1D motion we used all our what are they called? We had the 5 equations that we derived for constant acceleration. So for constant A, we had our 5 equations. We had our first equation, Vf equals Vi plus A delta t. Okay, now I'm not going to go into the derivation of this, but we will just use what we know. So when the angular acceleration is constant, we have an equation omega f equals omega I plus alpha delta t. Okay, then we have another equation which is delta x was equal to Vi plus Vf over 2 times delta t, and we would have delta theta equals will be omega I plus omega f divided by 2 times delta t. Okay, in a similar manner we can write down the rest of the equations. Okay, so here are the remaining equations, and once again you see there's a direct relationship between the the kinematics equations for 1D motion and for rotational motion. Alright, there's one last thing that we'll look at here before we move on to some applications of these equations, and that is namely the relationship between the translational and the rotational quantities. So we'll look at the relationship Okay, now the first of these is very, very simple. Okay, and you can use this as a basis for a lot of the other stuff. Okay, the first thing we ask is, if an object has an angular displacement of delta theta, okay, for some radius r, what is the arc length? What is the distance that it travels? Okay, so this comes from the basic definition of the arc length itself, where the arc length is nothing but r times the angle theta. Now, if you do not remember this for some reason, think of the circumference of a circle. Okay, circumference c is equal to 2 pi times the radius. Okay, now if you look at this is nothing but, what is 2 pi? 2 pi is the angle that you cover when you go around the circle once. Okay, so it is nothing but an angle times the radius. Okay, so that's precisely what we have here. The arc length is equal to some angle multiplied by the radius. Okay, so once we get the arc length, okay, what we notice is that the omega, okay, it is simply equal to s over delta t. Let's assume that, let's make delta t really small, and what it ends up giving us is equal to r delta theta over delta t, which makes it equal to r times omega. My bad, this is not omega, this is v, the speed. The speed is equal to r times omega. And then in a similar manner, the angular acceleration is equal to, the translational acceleration. In fact, we're going to call it a sub t, because the tangential acceleration is equal to r times alpha. Okay, very quickly, just to get an idea of what happens as an object is moving around a circle, what we know is that the angular velocity is pointing always along the tangent to the circle. Okay, and so is the angular acceleration. The angular acceleration is also along the tangent. It could either be in the direction of the velocity or opposite the direction of the velocity, depending on whether it's slowing it down or whether it's speeding it up, but it'll also be in one of these directions. So the A tangential could be either parallel with the velocity or in the opposite direction. The key thing is that it is tangential to the acceleration. Alright, so we have all these things. In the next video we'll look at some applications.